Okay, so just a quick follow-up to the Super Nintendo Classic Mini Edition, whatever you want to call it. Just a quick follow-up to my earlier video. So, the US, UK versions were announced, selling for $79.99 US. Coming out September 29th. 21 awesome games. So, pretty similar to how the UK and US release was handled last time with the NES Classic. We got the same games and whatnot. Now, the Famicom Mini, there was a different set of games. You know, and there was the two controllers connected to it and all that kind of good stuff. Which I guess you could argue good stuff because you can't detach the controllers without, modifying the system. So, the Super Famicom Mini, taking a quick look at her, they just announced it, obviously, for release in Japan. We didn't think they weren't going to release one in Japan, but, they kind of took a little longer today to announce it. It wasn't all announced at the same time. But they just announced a little while ago. And there are going to be some minor differences. Obviously, it's going to be the same style as the UK version, but it does say Nintendo Super Famicom on it instead of, Super Nintendo, that kind of thing. And there's going to be a few minor changes as far as games go. Kind of sucks. But maybe, if you're Japanese, maybe you don't care. Maybe these are the games you would rather have. But just to go over real quick, in Japan, the system is going to have these games that we're not getting. They're going to have Panel Dipan, Fire Emblem Mystery of the Emblem, Ganbare Goemon, The Legend of the Mystical Ninja, Super Soccer, and Super Street Fighter II. So they're getting those games. Now, the games that they're not going to get, that we are getting, that those are replacing essentially, is EarthBound. What? Was EarthBound not that big in Japan? Or something's going on there, but EarthBound is not going to be on the Japanese, Mini, Super Famicom Mini. Kirby's Dream Course is not going to be on there. Kirby's Dream Course, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, it may not be your opinion. Kirby's Dream Course, the little golf type game, I remember having it, and enjoyable game, don't get me wrong, but I feel it's the weakest out of the whole setup that's on the US and UK release, in my opinion. Street Fighter II Turbo, or Hyper, whichever one it was we were getting. So they're getting Super Street Fighter II instead of Street Fighter II Turbo or Hyper Fighting, whatever one it was we were getting. And they're not getting Super Castlevania IV, and they are not getting Super Punch-Out. Crazy, It is what it is. They make these decisions for a reason. Maybe those games are all fairly more popular in Japan than the ones that they cut, because those were all, released in Japan as well. But, then again, at the same time, maybe the licensing for, from Konami and Capcom, maybe the agreements were different. I don't know. So, yeah, those are the changes, essentially. And then we do see in this image, somebody had pointed out to me earlier that this is how the controllers are going to connect. Because at first I was like, where are we putting these controllers? I already have one of these Super Famicom controllers with the Wii input. So I'm just like, awesome. I'm glad it's keeping that format. It would be nice if it was like, some kind of new version looking like the old school inputs, but I understand they're not going to be changing the game and doing some crazy stuff and making proprietary inputs for the device. So they're going to use something they already have access to, the Wii inputs. That's fine. I have one of those controllers that were released in Japan for the Club Nintendo exclusive. I love it, so it's kind of awesome that it's the same thing, but it's Super Nintendo controller, so what can you say? Already knowing, having that Club Nintendo version of that controller, quality is just top notch, and I've had that controller for years. Awesome controller. I've used it on my NES Classic just to test it out, and on that format. I was using it on the Wii and the Wii U for like virtual console games. But yeah, that's pretty awesome that the front panel kind of flips down and you plug it in. I wish there wasn't that, you know, that the front panel, I just wish, you know, inputs, you know, you just plug them in. But with the panel up and it keeping the aesthetic of the original system where it looks like it has controller ports, that's kind of cool. You know, I guess there's got to be some kind of compromise if they weren't going to use a new version of the old school inputs, I guess you would say. I don't know. But it looks pretty neat to me. I'm really digging it. I cannot wait. But in Japan, the other news is that they're not getting theirs until almost a week after us, so October 5th. And they'll be getting it for 7,980 yen, which is about $70 US. So pretty similar in price, you know, depending upon, you know, the rate of transfer between the two currencies. You know, could change at that time, and you know, it could be worth less or more US, but who knows, who cares? It's the yen, it's Japanese currency. That's what it's going to be listed as, that's what it's going to be sold for. So it'll probably more than likely still be very similar in price if you converted it to US. Pretty cool. Sucks that they gotta wait, you know, a week after us, but hey, it's just the way the world works nowadays, I guess. But I can't wait, guys. What do you think? Are you gonna be getting the Japanese version as well? I did on the NES Mini. I got the Famicom Mini as well, just because I thought it would be neat to have, but I don't really use it because the controllers being plugged in, the controllers are baby-sized controllers. This one, they're not doing the baby hand controllers. They're going to be the standard-sized controllers, so I'm glad for that. I understand why with the Famicom Mini they did that, so the controllers could stick on the sides, which is pretty cool. I have a video that shows that. But I'm glad they're sticking to, you know, the Japanese version. You're getting, you know, the normal man, you know, teenager, woman size hands, you know what I mean? You know, for the controller, any of those types of hands that I just listed, it should feel comfortable in, unless you have like monster hands or something. I don't know. Then it could be like baby controllers, but they're standard size controllers, so that's a definite plus that they didn't miniaturize them this time. So, are you gonna grab it? Personally, I'm not. I'm gonna grab the UK version. That I've already got pre-ordered off of Amazon UK, which they're out of stock now, but just keep looking if that's what you want to grab. It's going to be the same style as this, looks identical, other than it doesn't say Super Famicom. But keep an eye out for that. If I can't get the US one, if I can get the US one, I'll grab it just to have it, but I always like the UK and the Japanese version with the colored buttons, and then, you know, the system just having that style to it, that curved style versus just the boxiness. So I think that's pretty sweet. Let me know in the comments, are you gonna grab one? Which version are you getting? US, UK, Japanese? Throw it out there. So just want to do this quick update. Hope you guys appreciate it. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Check out my giveaway video wherever it's at. I don't know. And I'll catch you guys next time. Boom.